Okay. I'd like to welcome everybody to our October Police Accountability Board meeting. Thank you for joining us in person and online. We'll start off with introductions.
Good evening, Leslie Myers-Small, Executive Director for the PAB.
Club, Council, Police District Council appointee.
Great evening, Arlene Brown, and I am an Alliance appointee. Thank you all so much for taking your time to spend with us to learn a little bit more about the work that we do and to help us keep the community engaged.
Abdurrah Settle, I'm the Northwest Council seat appointee.
Larry Knox, I'm Board Chair and Northeast Council seat appointee.
Joe Clark, and appointee to the board.
Yvonne Wilson, South Council seat.
Daniel Cadet Senior, Alliance appointee.
Our board members, Clark and Trevor Patterson are both excused for this meeting. All right, we'll start off with approval of the meeting minutes, which were emailed out and also in front of us. Any additions, subtractions to the minutes?
I move that we pass the minutes.
Second? Second. All in favor of approving the minutes? It is unanimous. And those minutes will be up online within a day or two for everybody to look at. All right, we'll start with staff reports.
Great, thank you. Good evening again. I have a few updates, so I ask that you oblige me, but they are really important ones. But I certainly want to say good evening, certainly to the board again, to our staff and to the community. And again, as Arlene said, thank you for taking time to spend listening to the happenings of the Police Accountability Board. I'm really pleased to provide several updates on developments over this past month since I last reported to the board and to the community. And we've made several strides in the following areas, including the conclusion of key investigatory reports 31, which were posted to the website. We're in the process of making improvements to our disciplinary matrix, and we continue to focus on increasing community engagement. So I'll go by division. Investigations, which again, I'd like to thank Ben for serving a dual role and overseeing that division. The first thing, obviously, is the 31 reports that have been closed and were posted to the website. I want to thank everyone who was involved in making that happen. Certainly the community for their reporting, our staff, case management, and the investigatory team, as well as the digital forensic analysts and others to ensure that we had 31 reports. That process is very specific and detailed, and it ends with our board reviewing the reports and making a decision. And so 31 reports were uploaded. We had a press conference to talk about it, and we are very pleased with the results and the work. Additionally, the board closed 4 more investigative reports, and so I want to thank the board for the yeoman's work in pulling all of that information together, reviewing it. And I want to thank you for your dedication. You asked great questions, and you came to a solid decision. Also, if you remember in the Friday letter, we sent information asking for your feedback relative to the discipline matrix. The team has worked on those revisions, and so now we're seeking your feedback as the board to ensure that we close the loop and we solicit feedback. I'm not sure, Ben, if you wanted to add anything else to that, or did you have a deadline or anything like that as far as us moving forward?
Would be good to receive the feedback maybe within the next week. It was sent out a few weeks ago.
Okay.
Hey, could you resend?
And just for the public, it's required by the charter for us to annually update the matrix. And so this is a regular part of the process. So once the feedback from the board is incorporated, the matrix will then be shared with the Rochester Police Department and the Locust Club for their input. And the goal is to have the final version ratified at the November board meeting, with board proposals to be discussed at, obviously, this meeting. For case management, in September, we received 16 total cases. 1 was a walk-in, 5 were submitted online, 6 came through the PAB hotline, 3 came through PSS notification, so that's through the police department, and 1 came through email, for a total of 16. Additionally, so 15 cases were opened, 1 was administratively closed, and then, as I mentioned earlier, the board reviewed and moved to close 4 cases. Under operations, we've been really busy in the human resources area, and we've welcomed several new staff members, including a webmaster, a language access. So webmaster is in the operations division. The language access coordinator is in the operations division. 2 community engagement specialists, which is in the public affairs community engagement. One of those specialists is bilingual, to help make those important connections in the Spanish, for our Spanish-speaking community. And then we also welcomed a staff attorney. And they all have jumped in, they've begun their work, and the onboarding process is currently underway. So they meet with myself and with the different divisional directors, they meet with Ben, and that process takes about 5 to 6 weeks for them to complete. Under the community engagement public affairs, this is something that was a request from the board to know when we are going out in the public and to be aware of what's going on. So our new hire, our webmaster, we met this week. He is going to begin using the calendar that's on the website. So we'll make sure that we ingrain in each of you what that link is. And you can click and see when there are events. We'll give you the name of the event, the time of the event, and where the event's going to occur. And we'll regularly have updates on the board, on the website. So we thought that was the most convenient, easiest way for you all to be able to check. Community Affairs also is committed to sending updates monthly about events that are coming on. But if new things come up or we get new invites, you can get real-time information on the website.
So we'll get like a calendar invite once it's put up? And
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Wait, I heard 2 different things. Are we going to get a notification, or we're just expected to look at the website?
You'll get the notification. Oh, what did you say? I'm
Are we
sorry.
going to get a calendar invite?
Oh, for all of those?
Yeah.
There is a way, so that you can do something where we just get a notification when something new is added to the calendar.
Okay, then we'll work on that with our webmaster. Sure. And also, per your request in your envelopes, you have, if you're out and about in your in the community, there are brochures, there's little chapsties and things for you to pass out. So we wanted to give you your community engagement folder. If you need additional information, just let us know and we can pull that together for you. Okay? All right, my updates. In front of you, you have an entry plan. So it's been 100 days and we've made, I feel, significant strides relative to onboarding. So we have a very robust SOP that outlines that very specifically. And I actually was meeting with a new hire, or the supervisor of a new hire, and they said this was really a great process because when they were new, they wished that they would have had this process, right? To get them oriented and to have them acclimate to the Police Accountability Board. There's been a lot of relationship building and strategic goal setting. So as I mentioned, the accomplishments include staff onboarding, reviewing internal policies with the creation of multiple SOPs or engaging with stakeholders, both internally and externally, and enhancing community outreach. I've been working on the board with just improving some governance, public communications, and we've been working on team building. Looking ahead, the focus is going to shift toward solidifying some long-term strategic goals. Where do we see the police accountability in a year, in 3 years, in 5 years? So do some visioning there. Continuing to addressing staffing needs because we are not yet fully staffed. And really further developing relationships with the community and city leadership. That remains a priority on my list, and I know as a board that remains a priority on your list. We can't ignore the fact that there are challenges such as resource constraints. We will, in a few months, I believe in November, get notification from Mayor Malik Evans on what our allocation is going to either stay the same. It would be wonderful if it increased or if it's going to decrease, and then we'll build budgeting from that point on. We have weekly meetings set up to go over the budget, and I'll update the board on where we are. And certainly, if you're interested in meeting and having a budget discussion, I'm happy to do that. We can have those conversations. I think that's important. We also just know that, challenges as far as barriers that have come up relative to limiting our work and us being able to move forward, but we just really continue to uphold and make sure that our pillars of transparency and accountability remain in public safety. You have a longer document in front of you that outlines through the different phases, and I wanted to make sure you had that. I'll continue to refine, but the document's in a pretty good shape. It is in pretty good shape. I do have to say that I'm very appreciative of the unwavering support of the board as we just have moved through certainly some difficulties, and you all being on the same page, being resolute in moving forward has really been uplifting to me, and it's been very encouraging. And so I just wanted to publicly thank you. You're individuals, but collectively as the board, the support, it really makes a huge difference for me as the executive director. So I wanted to share that. Additionally, the strategic plan, it's really important for the board to help shape our strategic plan. And so the goal, as we go through the hoops, we need to go to city council, get those approvals for moving forward. But we need your support in gathering the feedback on key priorities and goals. So we'll need to do some board work. We'll need to get that on the calendar. And really your input and your support helps us to align our collective vision and addresses the most pressing needs for the organization. And again, looking at that 1 year, 3 year, et cetera, snapshot and moving ahead. Standard operating procedures. As a part of our continuous effort to strengthen board governance and streamline operation, I'm making some recommendations, and if you'll take one and pass it. These are just proposals. None of these have been written. We only have the onboarding ones, but I have 10 SOPs, and I know we have some of these in other documents, but I'm trying to make sure that we have everything in one place. But I'm recommending that you all look at the 10 and let me know if you want to do 1, 4, all 10, or if there's even additional SOPs that you're interested in looking at. But part of my responsibility is to make recommendations to you as a board relative to this. So I wanted to just give this to you now. I'll re-socialize this in the Friday letter and we'll talk about this. So when we come back together in November, we can have a really robust conversation about what you'd like to see. And certainly we can craft them. If you'd like to craft them and we work with you, we're open to that. Additionally, website activity. That's the last thing I'll end on. So since the press conference, which was held on September 23rd, and the days following the press conference, we saw a noticeable increase in traffic on our website, and that's what this document is here. Particularly with heightened public interest, obviously in our investigative reports. And so this is the detailed report before and after the event. And this is when you have additional staff, the webmaster, we wouldn't be able to provide this information to you before. And so it was really powerful. Additionally, he gave me all of these statistics and data to see the different parts of the world who are looking at our reports. It goes beyond the United States. Germany is looking at our reports. The UK is looking at our reports. So it was just fascinating to see not only the impact certainly locally, but to see internationally individuals who are interested in what's going on in the Police Accountability Board. So again, I attribute that to being able to hire staff who are knowledgeable and experts in their fields. But we continue to push forward. We continue to, I believe, make progress. And I'm really, really excited about where we are. The one last thing that I'll share that didn't make my list, but I just found out at the end of the day when meeting with community, public affairs and community engagement, I think you've heard me say that working with our youth is really important and getting their voices uplifted are critical. We have both two secondary schools, one in the Rochester City School District, another in the Rochester City School District, but as a charter school. We'll be regularly meeting with the youth in the schools. In one school during lunchtime, we will be giving out information. The school is very supportive and having the young people understand about their rights. So we'll be handing out some of these materials. And in the charter school, we're going to begin an advisory council and regularly tap the expertise of the young people. So we have some really, I know this sounds we have some cool things going on, and I'm really proud about it. So
Middle schools or high schools?
there's high schools. Mm-hmm.
Both are
Both are high school. Mm-hmm. Well, secondary schools. One is a 7-12 school,
okay.
and the other is a 9-12 school.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if there would be any opportunities to co-teach, especially in high schools, with senior government courses, civic engagement courses.
Mm-hmm. I'd love to do that. One of the things and so we can certainly broach that. One of the things, that you encounter is we've got to make sure we get all the material in. So trying to figure out appropriate touch points where we're getting our information and that it aligns with what they're doing. But for example, the course Participation in Government, it's nicknamed PAB. But that's a good course. And even some high schools have electives, right, that we may be able to tap into. So that's something I can certainly look at too. I would love to get back into schools with the co-teach. That would be great. So that concludes my report.
Can you speak a little bit about, talking about transparency, the XXI interview?
Oh, yes, thank you. I wasn't sure if you were going to bring that up too. I didn't want to steal your thunder. So Chair Knox, myself, and General Counsel Ben Whitwer, we were on WXXI, obviously to talk about the release of the reports. We appeared with Gino, who's a reporter, the Locust Club, the Rochester Police Department, and General Counsel were invited, but they declined. And I felt like we just had a really good conversation. It was an opportunity to explain, why the reports were released. And I thought it was a very fair exchange. We had a great conversation. Chair Knox did a great job. Ben did a great job. So I felt it was very robust, and we had an opportunity to just hopefully explain, and really the bottom line for us, board, was just to encourage viewers, please just go and look at the reports, because some of the criticism has been, they're not of quality, or you don't have the expertise. And we're not being egotistical or arrogant. We just say, look at them and judge for yourself. We ask you to do that.
Yeah, I thought it was a great report, and one of the things that I wish had happened is they would have had call-ins.
Mm-hmm. We
But-
were surprised.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
But I wonder if they had any comments after the show, and would
Yeah.
they share those with you?
Also, could we put a link to that interview on our website?
I was thinking about that yesterday. I was like, why not?
Yeah, also
Yeah.
for the public who
Yeah.
want to listen to it, will be on the XXI Connections website too. You
Yeah.
can
Mhm.
see it there right now.
We've done 2 interviews, so we can put both links up.
Mhm.
Particularly like this one.
Would you tell
Yeah.
us what the other interview was?
The other, oh my gosh, that was Ben. What did we talk about in the first one?
Yeah, but that is happening.
Say
No,
again?
No, your first connection didn't.
Our first connection.
Well, you're saying you've been on connections twice.
Twice.
So this
Just to
is
introduce, oh, that's
Yeah.
right, to introduce me.
No, I thought you meant there was a second.
Yeah, no.
Oh,
place that you could,
no.
XXI or something.
No. We'll get those linked up on the website. That concludes my report.
Thank you. So for our chair's report, I do want to, number one, to thank the staff, to thank the community, and my fellow board members for all the work and encouragement and activism that got us to the point of getting these board, being able to ask the staff to release these reports. That was huge. It was, and without controversy, if you saw any of the news coverage or hear us in XXI, with some that want us to wait in regards to doing what I think was really clear in the community and definitely in the charter, something we need to do, which was get our work out there for people to look at and have an understanding in regards to investigations. Albany puts them up, New York City puts them up, other places in the country put them up, Chicago, and it's not something that's out of the realm. We're blessed enough here to have a whole team to do the investigations. We have a whole community that supports that. Not everywhere in the country has that, and I think it's important you have that kind of privilege, which isn't often given to people in Rochester, that we take advantage of it and do what is directed by the community, by that charter. And putting those reports up is another step among many that we've taken, and it was quite a journey to get there, but again, I'm really happy that work is up there. And as you see, if people look at the reports, it's not 99% everything happened that people allege, and not 99% that everything went right. It's just the truth from our investigation, from our board review panels of our decisions on complaints that the citizens of the community have had. So again, thank you to the staff and the board for getting us to that point. There is a conference next week that many of the board and staff are going to, the National NACO Conference about this work. I'm really proud we're going there. We went there last year also, and we're a much stronger place. Although we were a stronger place each year, we got better and stronger. But to be able to go to that conference and speak about what we've done this past year, putting these reports up, all the policy work that's happened, helping lead, in our short infancy of this police accountability work across the country. I'm really happy that our staff and board members that are going to be able to, take part in some of those conversations and be asked about how we got to where we are, notwithstanding all the barriers that we still have, which we talked about. And if you read some of the coverage, listen to us that we've mentioned. But again, keeping steady is required of us, and I'm really glad that everybody's been doing that. I will say this is going to be my last year as board chair, and I was reflecting on that because of all the unrest in our country, let's say, and that importance of what does it mean to have like a mandate to do something. And obviously election day is coming up. I encourage everybody to vote, but the fact that what we're doing was based off something that citizens voted on, 75% of them agreed on something. I was just kind of reminded of that, that's not always something that we may not always have, depending on what happens in our country. So the fact that we took advantage of that by putting this together with the community, the fact that this was voted on, the fact that some of these rights that we have and other people are trying to get may be in danger in our country, at this moment. There's already been boards that have been established that have been defunded in certain states. It's kind of more precious what we have here, and just the reminder of the unrest that we're going through. Kind of is a reminder of making sure that we, continue to grow what we have here. And my last thought is, if you have a chance, if you're watching, if you're listening to this, a week or two from now, please engage with some of our work. Our policy team has a lot of good work up. We'd love to get community comments on the policy work. There's time periods when we get community input. There's a good report that just went up on the cost of policing. We'd love to get some community input on that. And please definitely give us your ideas and thoughts on that and other policy work. Any questions or additions? Chair's report.
I don't know if this is the appropriate question. You said this is going to be your last year.
No, we'll chair the board. I'm not chair.
I mean, chair of the board.
Yeah, externally. Yeah, sure. I'll still be on the board hopefully after, but after we have yearly elections. So.
Okay, I'll discuss it later.
Yep. All right. Anything else?
I do have one other thing, if you don't mind. Last night, there were about 7 or 8 of us, including Mr. Clark. We started our first night at the Police Citizens Academy. We go until December 11th, but who's counting? And it's 3 hours. It's intense, and but they did a phenomenal job. It was really interesting. We learned about how they recruit, how they hire, the really intense process that it takes. They take someone who's interested to actually become an officer. They made it really engaging and interesting. And so for the public, that's a requirement that we need to participate in that. But you have several staff and again, a board member who is attending, and it really was very interesting.
It was.
I don't know if you wanted to add anything.
No, I think you did a great job, and it was insightful to see the training process that you have to go through from a recruit to a policeman. And as you indicated, it was very informative.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the things that we talk about in these meetings, they're attempting to implement.
Mm-hmm.
And we're hoping that by being there, we can strengthen the relationship as you indicated with the RPD.
Mm-hmm. Thanks.
Thank you. All right. Committee reports. Training committee. We've been doing trainings with NACO. We've had. Yeah, I think we had 2 since our last board meeting. If board member wasn't able to make it, they are online, so they'll be able to watch them. But yeah, we had a good training with Tina Barr, the training director of NACO. And Dr. Myers is on that one too, checking in on us. But yeah, we've been going through the board mandated trainings, and we got more coming up. And yeah, just really great information, strengthening our knowledge. Any old business? New business? All right, I know we have one matter for executive session. So I'd like to make a motion to address a potential legal decision we may have to make in executive session. Okay. All in favor? Executive session. Not anticipating any votes, so you don't have to wait for us to come back, but we'll announce it already when we do.
Oh, thank you.
Okay. We gotta try this back in, right?
Excuse me.
I mean, that's what I
All right, we are back from our executive session. There were no votes taken in executive session. And thank you for coming back. We will now look for a motion to adjourn.
Move.
Second.
All in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
We adjourn. We will see you next month.
In time, same time.